look at that. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I am evicting a tenant in the middle of an eviction moratorium. How am I able to do this? More importantly, why am I doing this? Well, I want you to know that eviction is always a last resort for me, especially in the middle of a pandemic. But you won't believe the series of events that led up to this happening. So hit that like button and let's get into it.
Subscribe.
In 2017, I bought a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It was a flip, so when I bought it, it was fully remodeled. It had a beautiful kitchen with granite countertops, brand new cabinets all around, beautiful laminate flooring throughout. It looked like real wood. And of course, fresh paint, baseboards. Even the exterior was good, and the landscaping. There was a beautiful lawn in the spacious backyard. So after the deal closed, of course I needed to get it rented out right away. And at the time, I was all about Section 8. So I selected a really great Section 8 tenant. At least I thought I did. And by December of 2017, she had moved into the unit and things were off to a great start. Actually, things went really well for a while. That is, until 2019. In March of 2019, I get a phone call from the tenant. She tells me that her front door had been smashed in, that there was an attempted break-in, and the front door needed repairs. So I came over to take a look. And I did see that the glass on the beautiful round window that was part of the front door had been smashed in. Also, when I showed up, her car was in the driveway and the rear window was smashed. I assumed whatever happened, this was also part of it. So she let me in the house to take a look, and she had some crazy story about a jealous neighbor who tried to tase her and ultimately ended up getting inside the house and there was a confrontation. I noticed a big hole in the sheetrock just behind where the front door is. She said it's because during the confrontation, the neighbor had her rear end smash into the wall. Well, obviously I was very concerned and I felt badly for her. I assumed she had an unfortunate situation, so I didn't even charge her anything. I just fixed the door and the wall and made the problem go away. However, while I was there, I also took the time to do the annual inspection. I figured kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I looked around the unit and most things were fine. There was some normal wear and tear, but nothing to really freak me out. However, I did find a stripper pole installed in the living room. This kind of threw me for a loop. When I asked the tenant about it, she said it was for exercise, fitness. The pole was mounted to the ceiling and I found it to be a violation of the lease, so I asked her to remove the stripper pole. Sorry, I mean fitness pole, which ultimately she did and sent me some pictures to show me that it had been removed. Now I'm sure that some would argue that these were red flag events and I should have proceeded with some sort of an eviction on the spot. However, like I said, eviction is always my last resort. And because the property was in mostly good condition, I was willing to chalk all this up to an unfortunate circumstance and give the tenant the benefit of the doubt. Moving forward, during the year 2020, I didn't hear anything really from this tenant, and I also didn't do the annual inspection. This, of course, was due to the pandemic. The housing authority also didn't do the annual inspection. They allowed the tenants to just do a stated inspection. Basically, the tenant had to fill out a form and say, yeah, everything's fine. That is until July of 2021. This is when the real trouble started to materialize. In July, I got a notice that the housing authority would be doing their in-person inspection. The inspection was scheduled for August 9th, and I was advised that the tenant had to be there. So of course, I sent some text messages to the tenant letting her know. I also emailed the tenant letting her know that it's very important that she was there in person for the inspection. Of course, the tenant was also mailed a copy of the notice directly from the housing authority. The interesting part was that the tenant did not respond at all to my text messages or my emails. So after a few days, I tried again, and again, no response. I decided to wait until the day before the inspection, and I sent another reminder. I still didn't get a response. However, I still didn't think much of it, because in all my years of doing Section 8 rentals, I've never had a tenant miss one of these inspections. That's because it's in the tenant's best interest to be there if they want their assistance to be continued. After the inspection's scheduled time slot had passed, I contacted the tenant again to ask how the inspection went. Still no response. This is when I knew something probably wasn't right. I got a phone call and a document emailed to me from the housing authority. They wanted to let me know that I failed the inspection. Not only did it fail, but it failed so spectacularly that I had some things to repair within 24 hours. So this tenant had a housing inspection today. She's a Section 8 tenant, and she failed. The thing is, I have been texting her for weeks telling her about this inspection and asking her to let me know if there were any problems that need fixed. Well, it turns out the front door is badly damaged, the door frame, and there's flooding in the kitchen. And the problems are so severe that the housing authority says if they're not fixed in 24 hours, that they are no longer going to pay me. That's called abatement. Here's the catch. The tenant's not texting me back. She's not making herself available. And then I was on my way to go check out the property. So I'm gonna have to go and try and fix the items without her approval or assistance. This ought to be fun. So let me just break this down for you. This note is telling me that if I don't get this stuff fixed in 24 hours, the tenant gets to live there rent-free permanently. I don't know if they could actually do that or if that's how this really works, but let me tell you, I don't wanna find out. And I'm freaking out. I have to get this stuff fixed. And if you don't know this, flooding for a landlord is a key word. It's like flashing red lights, emergency, emergency. Water and houses do not mix. So I knew I needed to get this stuff fixed right away. But here's the catch. The tenant, she still wasn't responding to me. So I was just gonna have to go over there and perhaps let myself in to do the repairs. But this is not as easy as it sounds. First of all, I'm really uncomfortable just showing up somewhere and letting myself in. I know that it is my house, but I don't like to just show up and start making repairs, especially when I haven't heard anything from the tenant in a really long time. One thing that was really bothering me about this is I happen to know that this tenant has someone over frequently who's a non-occupant, not on the lease, and I don't even recognize the person. I've never actually seen them. So what if I go over there, let myself in to do the repairs, and this guy's over there sleeping in the bedroom or something and sees me and thinks I'm some kind of intruder or a thief or somebody breaking in? He might have a knee-jerk reaction and attack me or injure me or heaven forbid, something worse. So I actually tried to call the police to see if they would escort me for this unique situation. Nope, they wouldn't touch it. I was on my own. So I did what I had to do and I went over there. But I had no idea what I was about to find. I get over here and there's a U-Haul, a moving truck. What is going on? When I showed up, it was pretty strange. There was a U-Haul truck parked in the driveway, and there was some guy loading it. So I walked up, I introduced myself, I said, hey, I'm the landlord. I have to make some emergency repairs. The guy really didn't seem to know much about what was going on. I asked him if O was there, the tenant, and he said that she went out to get some food. However, seeing as the front door didn't really work, I was able to let myself in, and I couldn't believe my eyes. What I saw was horrifying. Oh, no! It was an utter disaster inside. The first few things that I spotted right away were, well, obviously the front door had indeed been kicked in, and it was bad. The door frame on the inside was all messed up, and it was gonna be a pretty big repair. But worse than that, there were holes in the sheetrock, the flooring was in bad shape, the carpets were just soiled and filthy, the entire home reeked. I noticed several animals living in the home, which by the way, there's a no pet clause in the lease. Almost every door in the house was either off the hinges or smashed up. The backyard was filled with garbage, and there was an entire room that was filled up about 3 feet high with junk and clothes. And the kitchen sink. I looked in the kitchen sink. What is this? This is disgusting. What's happening here? I tried to turn on the water. The hot water didn't work. The cold water came on, but it instantly started leaking from under the kitchen sink. I went in the master bedroom. The bathroom sink was full of water, not draining. And look at these things plugged in right by the sink filled with water. Seems safe. The tubs looked horrendous, just badly stained. Neither one of the tubs were draining. The bathroom sink in the guest bathroom had the P-trap removed.
P-trap is off. Look at that, oh my God. Oh my God.
And water had just been pouring out all over the floor. To sum up the plumbing problem, basically everything that could be wrong was wrong. None of the plumbing was working. Nothing was draining. And I had until 9 a.m. the next day to fix this. So I get some of my contractors to come over. I get 2 different contractors for the front door because I know it's a lot of work and I want to make sure it gets done. By this time it was already 7 in the evening and they were really reluctant, like, can we do it tomorrow? So I had to explain to them, no, this is urgent. This is a special circumstance. It's an emergency and I'm gonna get you some backup so that you can work together. And I got 2 different plumbers to work on the plumbing because there were so many plumbing issues. So I had 4 people going to town trying to get this thing ready to pass the inspection by 9 a.m. the next day. And the plumbers were in shock with what they were finding. They were pulling crazy foreign objects out of the drains.
All of this was in the drain.
And the toilet is clogged too.
The toilet is clogged?
One of the toilets had to come up. Some objects were found in there. They were snaking the tubs.
Yeah, it's draining now.
The garbage disposal, when turned on, was just crazy stuffed with junk.
That don't sound good.
That didn't sound good. It was just mind-blowing. The best part is there is a major rat infestation that has been allowed to go on for apparently some time. It smelled heavy of rat urine, filth, and the rats completely chewed the dishwasher, which it was a really nice Samsung dishwasher. They chewed all the hoses and all the wiring. Now the dishwasher's junk.
So it's now about 10:30 in the evening and we're still at it. I picked up some waters to bring for these guys because everybody's getting kind of thirsty.
So with 4 people working as hard as they can, and me personally running trips back and forth from Lowe's to get supplies, we were able to get everything we needed to get fixed. We finished up at about 11:30 at night, and the next day, the unit passed. Yes! But the property's still destroyed. By my estimation, there's at least $50,000 of damage. The cabinets, the countertops, both tubs are ruined. It's a disaster. She's gotta go. So I contacted a lawyer and I'm starting the eviction process. We believe something has happened there called committing waste on a property. She's been served 3 days to quit the property due to committing waste. I'll have to keep you posted on how this goes. But there's one funny thing that I should mention. Now you might be thinking, what about that U-Haul? Was she planning to move anyway? No, actually the U-Haul was there to pick up a bunch of drug paraphernalia. Apparently she had been growing in the garage. You can see all the stuff out here in front of the U-Haul. Power supplies, lights, vents, fertilizer, growing trays, etc. Yep, drugs growing in the garage. Lovely. The lawyer thinks there was a break-in that happened and the place was robbed due to there being drugs on the premise. Might have even been the police raiding the property. We don't know yet. Either way, this is not at all okay, and she needs to go. Alright you guys, if you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to the channel for more good, juicy real estate content. And until next time, you guys are awesome.